The two phases of the prophetic mission. The mission of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, can clearly be divided into two distinct phases. The Makkan phase, which lasted approximately 13 years. The Madinan phase, which spanned a full 10 years. Each of these phases had its own defining features, shaped by the unique circumstances surrounding them. A closer look reveals clear distinctions between the two. Subdivisions of the Makkan phase. The Makkan period itself can be categorized into three primary stages. The phase of the secret call, this lasted for 3 years. The phase of open preaching in Mecca, from the start of the 4th year of prophethood until near the end of the 10th year. The phase of spreading the message beyond Mecca, this began at the close of the 10th year of prophethood and continued until the Prophet's migration to Medina. Details about the Madinan phase will be discussed later. The first stage, striving in the path of the call. 3 years of private preaching. At the time, Mecca was the religious center of Arabia and home to the guardians of the Kaaba. The city also held authority over idol worship, being the custodian of the many idols revered by Arab tribes. Launching a movement of spiritual reform in such a place, deeply rooted in idol worship, was undoubtedly a formidable challenge. Therefore, the Prophet, peace be upon him, initially adopted a discreet and cautious approach in delivering his message, to avoid inciting early confrontation. The first believers. The Prophet, peace be upon him, naturally began his divine mission by inviting those closest to him. He extended the call to those he trusted and believed would recognize the truth in his message. Several individuals, free of skepticism and firmly trusting him, immediately accepted Islam. These pioneers are honored in Islamic history as the early converts. Khadija, his devoted wife and the mother of the believers, was the first to accept Islam. Zayd bin Haritha, his freed servant, followed soon after. Ali bin Abi Talib, his young cousin who had grown up in his household, was next. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, his closest friend and a man of noble character, also embraced the faith from the very first day. From the moment Abu Bakr accepted Islam, he became an active and determined supporter of the Prophet's mission. Rahmathul lil Alameen 150th. Abu Bakr's role and the early converts. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq proved to be a passionate and tireless supporter of Islam from the very beginning. Known for his wealth, integrity, kindness, and gentle nature, he enjoyed widespread respect. People were drawn to his home for his wisdom, pleasant company, and trustworthy dealings. Leveraging his influence and social ties, Abu Bakr began inviting those he trusted to accept Islam. Through his efforts, several prominent individuals embraced the new faith. Among those he brought to Islam were Uthman bin Affan, of the Umayyad clan. Zubair bin Awam, from the tribe of Asad. Abdur Rahman bin Awf. Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas. Talha bin Ubaydullah, from the tribe of Tamim. These individuals, along with Abu Bakr, formed the vanguard of Islam, the early pioneers of the new faith in the Arabian Peninsula. Other early Muslims included Bilal bin Rabah, the Ethiopian slave known for his resilience and later honored as the Prophet's muezzin. Abu Ubaidah bin al-Jarrah, famed for his honesty and leadership. Abu Salamah bin Abd al-Assad. Al-Arkam bin Abi al-Arkam, who offered his house as the first secret meeting place for Muslims. Uthman bin Maz'un and his brothers Qudama and Abdullah. Ubaidah bin al-Harith. Sa'id bin Zayd and his wife Fatima, daughter of al-Khattab, sister of Umar bin al-Khattab. Kababab bin al-Arat. Abdullah bin Mas'udi, and many others. These early believers came from various clans within Quraysh. According to Ibn Hisham, their number exceeded 40. Ibn Hisham 1/245262. Ibn Ishaq noted, then people began entering Islam in large numbers, both men and women, and the message could no longer remain hidden. Ibn Hisham 1 of 262. Private instruction and early revelation. During this secret phase of the call, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would meet privately with new converts, teaching them the fundamentals of the faith in secluded settings. The revelation continued steadily after the command. O you wrapped in garments, arise and warn. Al-Quran 74:1-2. The verses revealed during this period were typically short, deeply expressive, and rhythmically captivating. Their powerful cadence matched the spiritual intimacy of the quiet, secretive gatherings. The focus of these early revelations was the purification and elevation of the soul, warning believers against the dazzling but hollow attractions of worldly life, and providing vivid descriptions of hell and paradise, directing Muslims toward a righteous path that sharply contrasted with the corrupt traditions of their society. The establishment of Salah, prayer. According to Muqatil bin Sulayman, Salah, the ritual prayer, was made obligatory early in the Islamic mission. Initially, it consisted of 2 rak'ahs, units of prayer, one in the morning and one in the evening. This practice is reflected in the Quranic verse. And glorify the praises of your Lord in the evening, al-ashi, and the morning, al-ibkar. Al-Quran 40:55. Ibn Hajar confirmed that the Prophet Muhammad used to pray even before the Isra and Miraj, the night journey. However, scholars differ on whether the prayer had already been made obligatory before the command to perform the 5 daily prayers was officially revealed. There are narrations indicating that, before the 5 daily prayers were made obligatory, the Prophet would pray twice a day, before sunrise and after sunset. A well-known chain of reports states that after the first revelation, Angel Gabriel, taught the Prophet how to perform wudu, ablution. After completing it, the Prophet took a handful of water and sprinkled it over his loins as part of the ritual. Mukhtasar Seerat Rasul, page 88. Furthermore, Ibn Hisham narrates that when it was time for prayer, the Prophet and his companions would retreat to a secluded valley in the mountains to worship in secret. Once, Abu Talib saw the Prophet and Ali bin Abi Talib praying. When he inquired about their actions and learned it was part of their religious obligation, he encouraged them to remain firm in their commitment to the prayer. Ibn Hisham 1 of 247. The Quraysh become aware of the Islamic call. Although the early stage of the Islamic call was conducted secretly and individually, word of it gradually spread throughout Mecca. Initially, the Quraysh leaders paid little attention to Muhammad and showed no real concern for his teachings. They assumed he was simply a spiritual thinker or philosopher, much like Umayyah bin Abi as-Salt, Qus bin Sa'ida, Amr bin Nufail, and others who would occasionally reflect on religion and divinity without causing disruption. However, this initial indifference soon shifted to concern. The Quraysh began to closely monitor the Prophet's movements, growing increasingly alarmed by the possibility that his message could transform public thinking and challenge the status quo. Fiqh as-Sirah, page 76. Over the course of 3 years of underground activity, a dedicated group of early Muslims had formed. They were united by a strong sense of brotherhood, cooperation, and a clear goal: to spread and firmly establish Islam. During this time, the Prophet limited his mission to a close circle of believers. But the time for secrecy had passed. The angel Gabriel, brought a new revelation from Allah, commanding the Prophet to publicly confront his people, refute their false beliefs, and challenge the practice of idolatry that dominated Mecca.